Growing up, I thought I had the coolest mom. She was a professional gymnast who'd won tons of competitions, and I wanted to be just like her, the best at something. But no matter how hard I tried, Mom always said I could do better, and she kept comparing me to others.
Mommy, I won second in the art contest.
What is this? The neighbor's daughter draws like Picasso, and her art was published in a magazine.
Mom, I came in third in the math quiz.
Well, that's disappointing. Your cousin just skipped 2 grades because she's a genius. Mom always had something to say.
Your cousin's a genius and she's so perfect, and her farts smell like flowers.
In 6th grade, I really started enjoying soccer and joined the team. But I hated it when Mom came to the games. She would shout instructions at me non-stop, and once at a match, she pulled me aside during halftime. What are you doing? You haven't scored a goal once.
But I helped others score goals and we're winning.
But no one's noticing you. You want to be a star or someone's sidekick? I could feel Mom's eyes on me in the second half, and I didn't want to disappoint her again. My teammate was kicking the ball down to the goalpost, and suddenly I ran after her. I tackled the ball away and scored the winning goal myself. Our team won, but everyone was angry at me for stealing the ball from my teammate. I felt terrible, but Mom was ecstatic.
Did you see that? My daughter scored the winning goal. Take that, losers.
I left the soccer team, but soon after, Mom took me to my first ballet, and I just knew what I wanted to do with my life. I'm gonna be a ballerina, Mom. Mom encouraged me and hired a private instructor who trained me hard for the next few years. And in 9th grade, Mom enrolled me in a fancy private school which had its own ballet team. On my first day, I was just signing up for the ballet club when I heard loud voices behind me. I turned around to see a gorgeous girl walk in, and for some reason, everyone seemed excited to see her. I thought I'd find out who she was, so I walked over with a form. Hi, are you signing up too? You can take this. These forms are for nobodies like you. I'm already in. Wow, what's with the attitude? And who are you? I'm Tatiana's daughter, you fool. What? Tatiana was a ballet superstar and my idol. I'd have to compete with her daughter? Okay, so having a famous mom doesn't mean you're any good because I've never even heard of you. I walked off before she could reply. Her name was Anastasia, and even though I'd played it cool, I was definitely intimidated. On the day of the auditions, I realized that my ballet shoes were missing. I had no choice but to borrow some spare ones for my performance. I calmed myself down as I stepped onto the stage, but just then, I spotted Anastasia grinning at me from a corner, and I knew she had something to do with my shoes. I felt so bothered that I just couldn't focus. As I did a jump, I suddenly lost my balance and stumbled to the ground. I ran off the stage, my face blazing. And Mom was even angrier. Tatiana's daughter did this? I went with that witch to school, and she was so aggressive and competitive. Of course, her daughter's just like her. I was shocked the next day when the ballet teacher called me and said I'd been selected. I had no idea what changed her mind. Later, as I was putting stuff in my locker, Anastasia came and slammed it shut in my face. Wow, you're such a cheater. You're only on the team because your rich mommy bribed the principal. Yeah, I saw her here today. What was she talking about? You're one to talk. I know you hid my shoes, and you keep using your famous mommy's name any chance you get. Well, now we're both here. May the best ballerina win. But I couldn't help wondering if Mom really had done something to get me on the team. So I asked her. The principal and I are old friends. She owed me a favor. Mom, that's cheating. I messed up. You listen to me, Valerie. I will not have your chances ruined because of one mistake. Sometimes to get ahead, you have to play a little dirty. Do you want to be on the team or not? The truth was, I wanted it more than anything. It felt wrong, but I couldn't miss this chance. And by 11th grade, I'd worked so hard that I was the best in my class. Anastasia was really good, but I was better. We were soon performing in the year-end musical, and the teacher told us that professional ballet dancers would be attending. I knew Anastasia was burning because I had the lead role. Well, I'd earned my place. One rainy afternoon, I'd just picked up my new ballet dress from a shop when suddenly a cyclist came charging down the pavement at full speed. I managed to jump out of the way, but slipped on a puddle. I was about to land hard when someone caught me. Whoa, gotcha. I saw a boy with messy hair smiling down at me. Oh my God, you saved my life. You're welcome, but you wouldn't have actually died. Oh, I'm a ballerina. I can't afford to get injured, especially right now. So thank you. Thank me by having lunch with me? I can't. I don't have time to spare. And suddenly my stomach growled loudly. Looks like you don't have time to eat either. Come on, I just saved your life. And I gave in. His name was Seth and he was in college. I was having such a good time that I hadn't even realized 2 hours had gone by. As he was leaving, he asked for my number. I didn't have much time to date, but he was cute, and it was hard to say no. We began texting each other, and soon his messages became the highlight of my day. Why are you always grinning like a moron these days? Is it a boy? It's called None of Your Business. So it is a boy. Well, if you have time to date, you're clearly not working hard enough. Maybe some of us can do it all and still be the best. Seth and I went on our first official date soon, and being with him made me happy. So I made space for him in my crazy, busy life. A few days later, I walked into school to find the halls buzzing with excitement, and I discovered it was because Tatiana was visiting. Sometime later, I went into the changing room, and I stopped short when I saw her there, my idol in the flesh. But just then, I noticed Anastasia, and Tatiana started screaming at her. You're telling me someone else got the lead in the school play? That's because your technique still isn't perfect. Why aren't you pushing yourself harder? I work as hard as I can, Mom. I'm still one of the best. There's no such thing. You're either the best or you're nothing. Oh, for God's sake, don't start crying. You know I can't stand it. Saying that, Tatiana left. My idol was a witch. And for once, I felt sorry for Anastasia. Hey, are you okay? Valerie, were you spying on me? Did you hear everything? I won't tell anyone. And your mom's wrong, Anastasia. I've seen how committed and talented you are. She's being unfair. Who do you think you are, Mother Teresa? Did I ask for your pity? My mom's the best, and I will be too. I'm not gonna be nothing, you'll see. Wow, these two were crazier than my mom. That afternoon, as I was leaving school, I was surprised to see Seth outside, leaning against a fancy car. Seth, what are you doing here? Hi. I'm here for Miss Tatiana. I'm her driver. OMG, your boyfriend is our poor driver? I thought you would have aimed a little higher, Val. Oh, maybe you can come work for us as the maid. The driver and the maid. So cute. Seth's face turned red and he got into the car silently. Tatiana soon joined them and he drove off. And he asked me to meet him the next day. I'm not poor. I make good money, but I did lie that I'm in college because I wasn't sure what you'd think of me. Why aren't you in college, Seth? I'm taking a break. I haven't figured out what I want to do yet. How can you live like that, with no goals? You can't just be a driver. I regretted my words as I saw his hurt face. I really admire you, Val, but there is more than one way to live. Your way doesn't have to be right for everybody. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Look, I want to take my time to find my passion and enjoy every moment, like this one. Suddenly, he leaned in and kissed me, and my heart soared. One night as I got home from a date, I found Mom in panic. Valerie, where were you? Why weren't you answering your phone? Oh, I guess the battery died. Do you know how worried I was when your instructor called and said you never turned up for rehearsal? I stared at her in shock. How had I forgotten about my rehearsal completely? You were with Seth, weren't you? Valerie, you have to break up with that boy. But why? Because he's a distraction, and he's making you lose your focus. He has no goals or ambition. You hardly know him, Mom. He's amazing, and he cares about me, but he doesn't get you. He's not right for you. You can be a superstar. Why are you letting him bring you down? I missed one rehearsal. Big deal. You would have never said that before you met him. I felt so angry at Mom. Seth wasn't like me, but he made me happy. The school musical was the same day as my birthday, and Seth took me for a little picnic by the beach before dropping me at school. But suddenly, the car came to a stop in the middle of nowhere. Don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing. But the car just wouldn't start. This can't be happening. Why did I ever agree to go out with you today? It took a while for a cab to reach us, and I left without even looking back at Seth. But I still arrived 20 minutes after showtime, and I cried as I watched Anastasia out on the stage as the lead. Mom drove me home in complete silence, but I could feel her disappointment, and mine was even greater. So later that night, I decided to end things with Seth. I'm really sorry, Val, but that could have happened to anyone. No, Seth, it wouldn't have happened to me before. I would have been focused on only the show. Look, my career will always come first, and you'd understand that if you had some real goals in your life too. There was silence, and suddenly he hung up. I knew I'd hurt his feelings, and I felt devastated too, but it was the right thing to do. The next day, I was dreading seeing my team or Anastasia at school, but mostly, I was feeling heartbroken over Seth. I went into the empty locker room and broke down into tears. Moments later, Anastasia came in. You're here to rub last night in my face? Go ahead, get it over with. You won. You're the best. Your mom must be so proud of you now. Actually, she isn't. She made sure to remind me that I only got the lead because you didn't show up. For a moment, we just sat there quietly. I saw you on stage last night, and you were amazing. Congratulations. Thank you. Anastasia got selected by a famous dancer right after the musical. After high school, I got into a great dance academy in New York and soon joined a ballet company. I reached fame and success quickly, and I was living my dream life, and Mom was finally proud. A year later, I went back home for some shows, and to my surprise, I bumped into Anastasia one day. She looked different, and I was shocked to learn that she'd given up on professional ballet. I'll always love ballet, but I just couldn't take all that pressure. I'm not like Mom or you, so I left it, and I started a dance studio for young kids. She looked so much happier now, and I was happy for her. One night as I was performing, I suddenly spotted a face in the front row that made my heart skip a beat. Seth! After the show, he was waiting outside my dressing room. I'm a journalist now, and I was in town to cover a story. I had to come see your show. You were magical, Val, and I'm so proud of you. That means a lot. Thanks. Got time for coffee with an old friend? I was so happy to see him that I said yes. We kept seeing each other for the next few weeks, and I realized I'd really missed having him in my life. But a few days later, I found out I was being sponsored to go on a world tour by my company. I would be an international star. I met Anastasia and told her the amazing news, but she sensed something was bothering me, and I told her everything about Seth. You should totally date him. But I'm about to leave for a world tour. I won't have time for him, and I can't have any distractions. That's your mom talking, Val. Listen, you can have all the fame and money in the world, but what's the point if you have no one to share it with? Being successful doesn't mean you have to be alone. Anastasia was right, and the next day I met Seth and told him everything. This time, I don't want to choose. I don't want to give up one dream for another, but I'm moving soon for my world tour and Val, I wouldn't dream of holding you back. I travel for work all the time, and I can move to Europe while you're there. We can make this work. I let you walk away from me before, and I don't want to do that again. I love you, Valerie. I love you too, Seth.